Trying to get everybody vaccinated as quick as possible, and the states have a lot of leeway to determine how that's going to work, both in terms of figuring out who is going to have first access to the vaccine, but also how the vaccine is going to physically be distributed. And we've seen in some parts of the country it's been going very smooth. In other parts of the country, you have Florida. So on Sunday in Lee County, Florida, their Department of Health sent out a press release. Hundreds of COVID-19 vaccines would be distributed on a first come, first served basis at various sites throughout the county. The first such distribution would begin at 2 p.m. on Monday. Vaccines would only be available to people 65 and older, but again, on a first-come, first-served basis. Hundreds of elderly people lined up at the vaccination site. Some of them arrived just 2 hours after the sites were announced. Many of these elderly vaccine seekers wrapped themselves in sleeping bags and blankets to endure chilly weather. On Sunday, the temperature in Estero dipped as low as 46 degrees and camped out, hoping that they'd arrive soon enough to be vaccinated. So they announced it, and they said, like it's UConn basketball tickets.
Yeah.
First come, first served. So you have a line of hundreds of incredibly old people lining up throughout the night to get vaccines. I defy you to come up with a worse way to distribute the vaccine than that.
Because they don't care. They don't care. It's again to say, hey, we've got vaccines. You guys know, make sure you put this on the headline of the news. We got vaccines, Florida vaccines. Hey, everybody, come get it. They have no idea how to plan something like this because they don't care about the people that have to go through whatever it is that they're putting them through. So if you have a plan to distribute vaccines to folks, you think, these are people. They got to get there. They have to know about it. It has to be organized. They have to know they got it. They have to feel safe in doing it. And by the way, there's still COVID around.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've even planned that part of it yet either. But so also, I'm not sure. I'll let you go through the details of the story, but the strain that this puts on everyone, not just the patients, but for the people who have to administer this stuff is extraordinary. But that's just my first thought. Continue on, John. I know you got more.
Yeah, I do. First of all, I want to respond to a comment on YouTube that was like, oh no, not 46 degrees. Okay, I get it. Yes, it is warmer in Florida than in other parts of the country. We're talking about elderly people. Like, imagine your grandpa and grandma hanging out overnight on the sidewalk in sleeping bags. That's not a great. I wouldn't do that right now. Like, to get like the next iPad or whatever, the next Star Wars movie. I'm not camping out overnight, and I'm only relatively pathetic. We're talking about old people in a pandemic lined up with a bunch of other old people, many of whom have pre-existing conditions. It's not a good idea.
I understand the city of LA just announced national disaster because we had a day and a half of rain. I understand that we're soft, but I don't care if you're 35 years old. You don't want to sit out in the middle of 46-degree weather for 8 to 10 hours chilling. You will literally be chilling. It's just, it's uncomfortable for the human body. I don't care if you live in Alaska, sitting out in 46-degree weather and just jeans and a hoodie isn't cool. I'm just saying it isn't.
Exactly. No, it's not. Or it is cool, but in a bad way. Yeah. So a little bit more information. Between 300 and 600 people can be vaccinated over the course of a day at these sorts of pop-up vaccination sites. Meanwhile, Lee County has more than 770,000 residents, more than a quarter of them elderly. So that's sort of to put it in perspective. So hundreds of people getting vaccinated is great news for those hundreds of people. Creating a potential public health disaster to get a couple of hundred people vaccinated doesn't really seem worth it. I feel like there's a lot of experiments going on in a lot of different parts of the country. I think that most hospitals have phones, and I think these doctors should get on the phone and figure out some better way. I don't know if it has to be a lottery or if it has to be coordinated through, like, go through individual doctors and then pick at random from their patients of different ages. I don't know. But first come, first served is not the best idea. This ain't Comic-Con, okay? And, Galfar, it's not the Eternals tickets, which I will probably camp out for. This is the vaccine.
Also, the Black Friday feel of this, the whole thing about Black Friday, even in some commercials back in the day when they were promoting this as a fun day, it was about people running over each other. And then you see the fights in the stores over the Tickle Me Elmo. I remember that from 1999 or something, whenever that was out. People were fighting over toys and TVs and stuff. So what do you think that people will be willing to do when it comes to something that is deemed a life-saving vaccine in the middle of a pandemic, where everyone's tired of sitting at home and everyone's tired of worried if they're going to get the virus? So all this, it's, again, just that 5 seconds of thought, which I didn't think about till now as far as a Black Friday comparison. is the first thought you should have if you're actually trying to take care of your citizens, the people who pay you. Let's not forget that part.
Look, yeah, I will say, if we're going to go in this direction, though, we should at least commit to it. So what you want to make sure is, because this is a limited resource, we can't give the vaccines to everybody. You want to make sure that the people who get them are going to be able to really use them and benefit from them. You don't want to give them to people who are going to be weak. So really commit to the Black Friday thing. First come, first served, but also no line. Just a big crowd, you open the door, and people just stampede in, and the strong ones get to the vaccine. They can inject themselves at that point. It's a ridiculous system.